Hi everybody, it's Kevin.
And me, Ralph, behind the camera.
And we got our special guest today is Dad.
Hey, Mr. Petowski.
Hi everybody, how you doing?
My dad, Walt. And so this time in August, it's gotten to be kind of a tradition around here where we put up bread and butter pickles. And we got a half bushel of pickles at the farmer's market. And Dad and I are just scrubbing them, getting the dirt off of them.
That's the first step.
That's step number one, and then we'll get to trimming the pickles. There's two ends. One's called a bud end, and one's called a stem end, and those have to be sliced off. And then we'll start getting them sliced and mixing them with the other ingredients, which in this case are onions and green peppers.
Ooh.
And it will start the whole process. But the first thing is all the veggies have got to get clean. And we use a recipe that's been in our family for a long time, was of my dad's aunt, Helen.
Oh, my Aunt Helen, right.
That was
When you said my dad, I was thinking of my dad.
yeah.
I was gonna
His dad's sister,
my
dad's aunt, my great aunt,
All right.
Helen. And it's just her recipe that we came across some years ago, still written in my grandmother's handwriting, and that's the one we use.
So this is a pretty traditional way of canning pickles.
Well, it was a tradition for her way. Let's put it that way. I imagine it's like so many other recipes.
Variations.
There are a lot of variations.
Yeah.
And this is one that she used, and the whole family wound up using it because, let's say, it was in my mother's handwriting, so she copied it from her sister-in-law.
Well, these are a hit. I know everybody loves these bread and butter pickles when you can them and share the goodness of them after
They are really because they're kind of they're sweet and tart, and I think the onions and the green peppers give them a great flavor.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are starting to slice our pickles now. So what Dad's doing is he's trimming them. He's kind of taking off both of the ends of the cucumber, and because what happens actually is if there's something about the enzymes in those buds that aren't good.
They make them bitter?
I don't know what they do, but there's some kind of there's a chemical reason for removing those.
Okay.
Besides that, it's on the recipe.
That's right. That's what Aunt Helen said, to take them off.
Following
so take them off.
Aunt Helen's recipe.
That's right.
I meant to ask you before you started to, if anybody wanted to follow this recipe, these pickles that you got, are they a special type of pickle, or?
They're a typical, it's a cucumber.
Right.
But they're referred to as pickles because, one, of their size. Two, they have very small, here you can see, very small seeds. And it's just a variety of cucumber that's grown called pickles.
Okay, so that's what you want to start with.
Yeah, so like, you see the cucumbers in the store, the big ones, like a salad cucumber.
That's not
you would
what you
not
want.
want to use those.
Well, it's a different, if you look at the two, this one has sort of got like warts all over it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see
Those
that
bumps.
in the cucumber that you use for a salad.
Okay.
Right, that's right, because those are always really kind of
Smooth skin, yeah.
So this little gizmo here that we got is one of the things I found at one of, I think I got it at an estate sale or a thrift shop, I can't remember. Anyways, you can use a food processor for this. If you use your slicing blade, you could just use a mandolin. You could use, if you have a box grater that has a slicer on one side, there's lots of ways you can go about slicing these cucumbers. You could slice them by hand if you wanted to, but
you get uneven thicknesses that way.
yeah, and so this way it is a good way to kind of keep it all uniform, and it also does it a lot quicker, obviously, than would you do it by hand.
And this device has various thicknesses.
Yeah, it has different cones that you can put in. This is the thick slice, so you can see, some are a little thinner, but I think this is a nice, that way the pickle has some substance, a little crunch to it. So what we're going to do is we got all these pickles to trim and slice, and then we're going to go ahead and also slice up the onions and the green peppers. So we have all of our cucumbers sliced, and what we're doing now is adding the other ingredients that go in to each batch, which are white onions, sliced very thin, and for that, you can see I'm using a mandolin.
Not the musical instrument.
Not right, but the kind that cuts, and that gets us really nice thin slices of onion, and then Dad's on the green peppers, and he's slicing those nice and thin. So what we'll do is we'll add our onions and our peppers to the pickle mix here, and as an example, and then we'll add about a cup of pickling salt, which is a very fine non-iodized salt, and we'll mix it all together. We'll put some ice cubes in there and put a weighted plate on top of each batch and let them sit for a couple hours. We have got all the vegetables sliced. We're inside. It's a little cooler. Pickling salt. That's what we use. And again, this is a non-iodized salt. I have a half a cup here. And we put the salt in, and then we mix everything together. And it's hard to imagine, or maybe you can, but there's already a wonderful smell just from the peppers and the onions and these cucumber pickles. And the salt sort of brings that smell out. What we're going to do is we're going to mix the batch together, make sure the salt kind of gets its way onto all the pieces of vegetables. Then once that's done, we're going to get some ice.
Going to give it a nice bath.
Yeah.
Not a nice bath, but an ice bath.
So, put about a quart of ice cubes, and we're going to sort of
mix that in real
good. Bury those in. This one just kind of keeps it cool enough, and obviously it will melt gradually, and it'll help that salt do its thing and pull out sort of the bitter liquid that's inside the cucumber pickles. So we're going to do that to all of our batches, and we'll let them sit for a couple of hours. We're washing jars. So
part of the process.
yeah, jars need to be clean and sterilized. So what we're doing is we're just taking our jars, which we reuse every year, and when you give your pickles away, just ask the folks to give you the jar back, and you'll refill it next time.
That guarantees a refill for next time.
Exactly. We are continuing our pickle party, and so what we're getting ready to do now is make the brine that the pickles and onions and green peppers are going to go into. So it takes 5 cups of sugar, so Dad's going to measure that out, and I'm going to start with the spices. So the spices in these bread and butter pickles anyways include turmeric, ground cloves, mustard seed, and celery seed. So we're gonna, turmeric is, you can see it's got this sort of this golden color, and it gives things a great flavor, but as well it really will make the brine sort of that yellowish tint to it. So a teaspoon and a half of that. Dad, we need 5 cups of vinegar.
Yeah.
Use a white vinegar for this. Here, Dad, I'm just going to move the sugar, and you can pour it out, and I'll continue on with the spices.
All right.
So we need 5 cups of vinegar.
Now, all this goes as 4 in this. measurement 01 to go to 4.
Oh, okay. This is ground cloves, and
Pour it right in here?
no, right in,
Oh,
in
right
the
in
pot.
here. Oh, yeah. I thought you moved the pot. You just moved the sugar.
So
That's 4 cups, 1 more to go.
we've got a half a teaspoon of ground cloves, and then we're going to have mustard seed, 2 tablespoons of mustard seed.
5 cups.
5 cups, great. 2 tablespoons of mustard seed. One,
You can really smell the brine coming together.
2 tablespoons of mustard seed.
okay.
1 teaspoon of celery seed.
Last but not least is the celery seed. And we're going to put in a teaspoon of that. Okay, so that's 1 batch of brine. Now, we got to do this 5 times because we have 5 batches of pickles. But you're going to take this and you're going to bring it to a boil. And then we're going to turn it down and let it simmer for a few minutes.